Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm just going to paint a couple Gerber daisies or Gerbera daisies, however you wanna call it. But I wanted to paint some of my flowers outside, but it's so cloudy and it's cold, and well, I shouldn't say cold. Cold is all relative in Michigan. Today it is cool out. It feels like it's about 60 degrees and it's just cloudy and but I may still get out there and paint. But I just saw these daisies online and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and paint them. And I've got a photo right here that I'm looking at. So I'm going to go ahead with those. And one is pink and one is kind of a like almost a new gamboge to orange color. And I'm not a botanical painter, but I'm going to go with a number 4 round to start. This is a Rosemary and Company brush, and I think the key to botanicals is to be very slow and steady with your washes, starting them out very pale and then building on them with glazes. And if you've never heard the term glaze, all that means is that you're putting a layer of color over another layer of color, and that color might be different than the one previous to it. Now this pink is off. The color on here is more of a purpley pink, so I'm going to kind of blend this together. That's a little bit too far, I think. That might be more like what I need. And I think that using this palette the way I am is going to help to stop that that beading that happens on new palettes. So I just had my bag in front of me, and so I thought I would use that. And like I said, I'm going in fairly light. Another thing that I think is important is when you're doing these kinds of flowers, unless you're doing a full wash on all of the petals, which I could do, and maybe I will, you usually don't want to paint one petal to the next, but aside from a couple here, this one is almost white with the light. And then there's one over here that's fairly light too. So I'm going to go in even lighter with this wash to make sure I don't overdo it. And I'm just going to paint some of these. I want to be able to see my pencil lines. Also, in reference to, I'm going to say the name here, and I normally wouldn't do that, but I think it's important because I'm sick and tired of being called out by this person, and I've blocked her. But somehow YouTube let her last message through to me. Didn't make it to my page, but she said on my lighthouse sketch that it looked like a coloring book. Her name is the Bicycle Lady online, and she's very critical of me. But I got very frustrated. So since I can't I won't allow her to leave me comments, and I can't leave her comments. I just want her to know, and for anybody else who might be questioning why I use pens sometimes, that is a look called line and wash. It is a sketching technique that many artists use, not just me, and it is not a coloring book look. It's more of an illustrative look. And I thought that term, that it looked like I was coloring in a coloring book, was very rude. And I'm not going to tolerate that on my channel. So that's one of the reasons I say be nice to people at the end, is because I really feel that it's important that we be nice to each other. Oh shoot, there goes all my stuff on the floor. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. But today I'm using pencil because I don't want that kind of a look on this. I did put the pencil in darker than I normally would do. And the reason for that is so that you can see it better. I'm sitting on my couch today. My new couch, by the way, the one that my husband picked up at that garage sale. It's very nice. But he got it for me because he knew how uncomfortable I was on my old couch. He's such a sweetheart. My husband takes such good care of me, and he puts up with so much crap from me. My irritability when I'm not feeling well and all of that stuff. And sometimes he watches my videos. So if he watches this one, Pat, I want you to know how much I appreciate you. I'm so honored to be married to you, that you would take time to take care of me, even when I'm being excuse the word, bitch, because I don't feel well and I'm in pain, and then I take it out on those around me. I think we all do that. You know, the term, you always hurt the ones you love, is kind of true, sad but true. But they're the ones that we open up to and that we are around. So I just want him to know how much I appreciate him, because he is the most wonderful guy. I tell you what, he does so much for me. I have gardens outside that are a lot of work, and I used to be an avid gardener. I still love gardening. I attempted to pull some weeds the other day, and it put me, I was sitting on the grass and just leaning forward and pulling some out with my hands, just grass, and the ground was wet enough that they were coming out easily. I couldn't tolerate it. I was on my back all day Sunday in agony, in agonizing pain, just because I spent a few minutes outside doing that. And my husband, who hates gardening with a passion, he's always said he would rather pave the entire yard than to have gardens, because he does not like to garden. He'd rather be out fishing or doing something else. He used to golf. I used to golf. Neither of us can golf anymore. He's got a bad knee. It puts a lot of torque on your knees. And, of course, my bad back and hips. I can't golf either. And, oh, my gosh, you have no idea how much I miss it. I was no good at it. I mean, I got my money's worth out of hitting those balls, that's for sure. That's what I always said. I said, I may be no good, but I'm getting my money's worth, and those winners are not, because they're barely hitting it. But anyway, he sat and gardened and trimmed hedges and edged the yard and mows the lawn. I used to mow the lawn twice a week. I loved it. It was all therapeutic to me. It was exercise. Oh my gosh, you have no idea how much I loved that. But I can't do it anymore. I'm hoping one day I can. You know, I can plant some flowers in a flower pot, but he sets all the stuff out for me. He gets all the pots ready for me, where I used to do it all, dragging heavy pots across the yard, and he's just a wonderful guy. So anyway, I'm done with that. I'm not going to keep talking about it, but just sharing. So anyway, I put on my first glaze. Now this is very pale, as you can see. These, oops, I got a fuzzy on here. I don't know where that came from. I'm getting this first glaze down, and you need it to dry before you move on to the next one. This flower, this one is more of a violet, a red violet rather than a pink. So I think I'm going to use my magenta and add that into this color, and then a little more ultramarine blue. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, maybe you can. Because the Rhodonite Genuine that I was using just wasn't the right pink. And I'm not sure. Maybe I wasn't using ultramarine. It seemed funny when Nope, I was. I was using ultramarine. It has a little green on it, and I'll bet that's the problem. I probably got green in the red. I'm just going to do a little more here. That's more of the color. although it's dark. Let's see, this is a dark leaf under here. Yeah, that's the right color. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. And you can just kind of watch. Slow and steady wins the race with these. If you, actually before I speed it up, if you ever use Craftsy, the Craftsy website, they have great beginner classes. They'll say beginner, intermediate, and advanced. They're pretty much all beginner classes. And I took a lot of those classes when I was starting out. If you are just a beginner and want to take some classes, go on to Craftsy and take some classes. If you like botanicals, take the class by Anna Mason. She's got 2. Take her flower class first and then her strawberry class. I have not taken the strawberry class, but I understand it's an add-on to the other one. She also has a website where you can actually, if you're really into botanicals, you can actually just take her classes, all of her classes right there. And she keeps adding more, I understand. I'm going to remix this because as you can see, I'm getting granulation. And it's from that Rhodonite Genuine, which is not a good color for this. So I'm going to take my paper towel, wipe this out, and I'm going to redo it. With just the magenta, quinacridone magenta, which is not a granulating color. It is a staining color, so you got to be careful. I mean, you're not going to be able to lift a lot. You can while it's wet. And then I'm adding my ultramarine blue, which is granulating, but it's not too bad. That's probably the color I need. I'm going to try this. I'm adding water to it to water it down. Now I'm going to try this again. Going back into the same 2 petals. There's still a little bit of granulation showing, but I think it's just left over. There's 2 petals here. One is popping through the bottom here, so that's why I have that little dot. And now I'm going to go ahead and speed up.
Piece of grass walking down the road. Tell me how long you gonna stay here, Joe. Some people say this town don't look good in the snow. You don't care, I know. Seasons crying, no despair. Alligator lizards in the air. In the air. Wishing on a falling star, waiting for the early train. Sorry boy, but I've been hit by purple rain. Oh come on Joe, you can always change your name. Thanks a lot son, just the same.
Okay, so I decided to grab my regular DIY palette because I have some other colors in here that will make a better color for this pink flower that is not turning out quite right. So what I'm going to do is go over it again, and I'm going to be using probably some cobalt violet and a little bit of, maybe a little bit of pink or a little bit of blue. I just need I'll just use this to mix on. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna grab this pink too. I'm not sure what I want to do right now. So I'm gonna grab a couple colors and just wing it. I love quinacridone pink, and I didn't have that in my other thing either. And I'm wondering if mixing these two, yes, that is the color. That's the color, guys. That's what I wanted. And see how different it is? It is different. This is much brighter. And going over it is not going to make it perfect, but it'll make it better. I'm using my Anna Mason series, Rosemary and Company Anna Mason series, number 5 brush right now. And when I get into the tight spots, I go down to a number 1. But this has a bit of a point. These brushes, though, the way she makes her brushes are that the bristles are shorter than normal. They don't come out quite as far. They are synthetic, so you can kind of see the edges are starting to rough up. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Anyway, the bristles are starting to rough up. I don't know if you can see that right up near the tip here and just below the tip. See how they're kind of poking out a little bit? I can't get them to lay down. That's because the brush is starting to wear out. So anyway, I'm going to speed this along, and I'm going to keep going on this now.
Piece of grass, walking down the road. Tell me, how long you gonna stay here, Joe? Some people say this town don't look good in the snow. You don't care, I know. Wishing on a falling star, waiting for the early train. Sorry boy, but I've been hit by purple care. Chewing a piece of grass, walking down the road. Tell me, how long you gonna stay here, Joe? Some people say this town don't look good in snow. You don't care, I know. Into the highway in the sunshine, where the days are longer and nights are stronger than moonshine. You're gonna go, I know, 'cause the free wind is blowing through.
Okay, well here are my quick flowers for today. The perspective is a little bit off. The stem should have been
Seasons crying on his spirit, alligators
so, although actually this one tilted in this way a little bit. So I
in
guess
the
that was this one. The stem should have been because the flower was this way, although it could have been. They were visible in the photo. So anyway, here I just felt like doing a leaf real quick with some
wishing on a
shadow on
falling
it.
star,
But that's
waiting
it.
for the
Just a quick sketch.
early train.
Everybody get out there, sketch in your house if you can't
Sorry,
get out.
boy, but I've been hit by
Get down and just have a great
purple
time.
rain.
Remember, be courageous.